Hello everyone, this is RWBY here at RWBY Studios and RWBY Plays, and I have mostly recovered from my ailments. So I am back at the voice recording with Summer Rose Court. For those who are wondering whether or not I've made up my decision about JPDE after the massive fiasco that happened last week, I have not. I'm still in the process of trying to figure out whether or not it's something I want to do. However, it seems like a lot of you guys still want me to push forward with it, mostly because you want to see the story, and that's respectable. I'm taking that into consideration, and I might actually honor your request and continue doing it. If I do, understand that I, in no way, shape, or form, I'm doing this specifically to help Manos or JPDE in any way, shape, or form, because it's just not in my best interest, I feel like, to do so. Which is one of the reasons why I was thinking about stopping the playthrough altogether, but it is my most popular thing on YouTube, and you guys definitely want to see it, so I'm kind of in a bit of a tough spot, and hopefully within the next week or so I'll be able to give you an official statement. Until then, we're playing this other RWBY visual novel because of the fact that I'm having fun with it, even though it kills my voice, because RWBY is the main character and her voice is very difficult to do. Anyway, in the last episode, not much really happened. A lot of important stuff happened, but there were only like two main events. The biggest one being we managed to get to the city of Vale. Yang was very apprehensive about letting RWBY sit on the Rose Throne, because of the fact that it was basically trying to kill Ozpin, because it thought Ozpin was an usurper. However, after Goodwitch's reassurance, RWBY, I mean, you guys know who Rose is. RWBY decides to accept her destiny and sit on the throne, and after tasting her blood just a little bit, just giving her a few paper cuts, it retracts and accepts her as the official heir to the throne. Afterwards, we have a coronation. Ozpin's still really weak, but he manages to attend. He officially anoints RWBY as the new queen of Beacon? Vale? I'm still kind of getting confused on how they're using the nomenclature in this game, but she's the new queen. I think she's the new queen of Vale. Yeah, that's basically it. So we are going to, I think the way that the game was setting us up, we were going to tour the city now. So without further ado, let's get started. Oh right, I forgot, I like the background noise. I like the fact you actually have dialogue back there.
In the days following my coronation, Gunda sees to it that I learned my way around the castle. After that, she starts teaching me about the city itself. Integrating into castle life has been hard for Yang, but she made friends among the guards easier than I did. There weren't any ranks or titles between her and them, the way that my status as queen keeps me at arm's length from just about everybody. She goes off to explore the city on her own while Glinda gives me the tour. And the roads here not only channel citizens between districts, but also serve as trade roads and areas of informal commerce. Moving along, we have... There really is a lot of people all over the place. All this hustle and bustle is kind of making me nervous. Getting used to moving in all this armor isn't making things any easier either. Is it really okay for me to be out like this? You have me as your escort. The wizards have considerable clout in the city, rivaling that of the royal family, and the power to back it up. No one will bother us, trust me. In any case, the market is this way. It's the easiest part of the city to find and the hardest to leave. Please stay close. I cannot protect you if I don't keep you within eyeshot. Understood? Yes, ma'am. Each person has their own destination, but as a whole, they're an indistinct mass of color and movement. As we progress through the busy market, the path gradually clears as the people become aware of Glinda's presence. Recognition gives way to short-lived confusion as they notice me walking beside her. Each time, a spark of unfamiliar deference lights up in their eyes upon realizing who I am, and they step aside. I'm getting dizzy just watching everyone. Understandably so. But make certain to keep your wits about you at all times, lest you find your pockets lighter than they were when you came. Let's move on. We move through the crowds and towards a less busy side street. Glinda has a talent for this. People move quickly to get out of her way. I follow closely behind her. In this direction, one finds the much quieter housing district. At the sun's height, there are often children idling and playing together, but it remains a place of relative calm among the other districts, the markets, the menageries. Menageries? You mean places with cute little animals to look at? Oh, wow! Please, take me right away! Please, please, please! Remember yourself, Your Majesty. Sorry. But you'll take me, right? I don't quite believe you'll see what you're expecting to see. However, I suppose you will need to see them eventually. A queen must know her domain, after all. I shall accompany you. Oh, thank you! I can't wait!
Oh boy, I don't think this is exactly what she was expecting. This is more like an Alien Age from Dragon Age. I mean, just the foreboding spiked wall doors just told me that this is probably not what she was hoping for.
As we venture beyond the periphery of the housing district, my excitement quickly fades, replaced with a sickening coil of dread which settles in my stomach and twists up through my ribs. The gate before us, I know I'm never going to forget it. I know I'll always remember the sound of its creaking hinges. I feel suffocated. I want to leave. This place is empty of peace or charm. There are only shadows, and beyond them, angry glares and harsh whispers. The crude dwellings line the road look unfit to live in, even for animals. You wanted to see them, did you not? This is one of the menageries, where all fauna citizens reside. With myself away from the city in search of you, and Ozpin chained to the throne, the person we chose to run this city betrayed us, and betrayed our trust. And in this day and age, well, let's just say we're fortunate enough to have you back. I like the, Old West style music that they have for this. Very twingy. I look closer at the few people I can see and notice their ears and tails flickering in our intrusion. I can't begin to imagine what they're feeling. They're trapped here, caged. And here I am with the freedom to leave whenever I want. I can feel their hate like a pressure on my skin. This must be some kind of mockery. Two human nobles come to gawk at the spectacle. I don't think any of them were there to see my coronation. I hadn't noticed any animal features in the crowd, but I'm their queen too. Do they recognize me? I can hear a baby crying in the distance. Those children old enough to walk are wandering about, eyes listless and vacant. I bow my head to hide my expression from Glinda as I turn towards the gates again. I've seen enough. This isn't what I thought it would be.
Oh, those features seem rather familiar.
As I turn, I see a woman watching me from our alley. Her gold eyes, slanted as if in accusation, fixed me with a penetrating glare. Feline ears protruding from the crown on her head perk up for a moment before they flatten against her skull in anger. There's something about her, something in her eyes, in her stance, that feels different from everyone else. Like she's accustomed to this filth and yet not a part of it, separate, above it. Even here, she stands at ease, without the sense of defeat I see in the every other face present. Tossing me one last disdainful glance, she folds her arms and disappears into the back of the alley. Glinda and I leave. I follow Glinda back to the densely packed marketplace. All around her, people swarm, shouting and bumping into each other. Someone crashes into me particularly roughly. Hey! A space around us clears as a dome of heat surrounds us. Glinda is alarmed at first, but then quickly we realize what had happened. I smile back at Yang, who walks with ease in the crowd towards us, everyone doing their best to avoid the blistering heat she emanates. Thanks for joining us, Yang! Yang rests a reassuring hand on my shoulder and steers me towards Glinda, who is standing next to an open door leading to an unfamiliar building. It looks recently built, and a touch more sturdy than the one surrounding it. A warehouse? Hey, little Rose. Sorry I didn't come with you today. I wandered off to do some exploring on my own. It's okay. I think of the menageries. You probably wouldn't have liked it anyway. Nice of you to join us, Xiaolong. Check to make sure you haven't lost anything important, then follow me. It wasn't supposed to be so hot today. So what part of the city did you see today? Honestly, not much. I spent most of the time chatting with the castle guard. After that display at the gate when we first arrived, I was worried about the security here. Yeah? And? It seems like that there's this sort of divide there. There's the castle guard, yeah, but then there's a private contractors too. And all those belong to a guy named Torchwick. Linda sighs. That's something we'll discuss today as well. Ozpin can probably do a better job than I can. Needless to say, I trust the fellow about as far as I can throw him. Considering her power, that probably isn't an apt analogy as she intended. Vividly, I imagine Glinda picking up someone she disliked with her magic and hurling them across Beacon's cliffs. But he's gotten too powerful in too short of a time for me to openly challenge him. The people love him. Or the humans do. He is actually our last hope. He's actually our last stop on today's tour of the city. You'll have to meet him sooner or later. I get the sense that she wanted to say unfortunately when she said that. We walk inside the warehouse to meet the infamous Torchwick fellow. I spot him almost at once. A man in a white coat and a black hat. Glinda walks ahead of us, already engaging him in conversation. I could barely hear her asking about the guards over the bustle of the market right outside. Interrupting Glinda with a silencing hand, he regards one of his cronies who had come along to bring him something. A slice of pie. Lifting his nose, he gives it a few whiffs before his face crinkles in disgust. He sticks his finger into the pie, then yells at whoever had brought it to him, waving the soiled finger around accusingly. Only when he's done giving his employee thorough tongue lashing does he return his attention to Glinda, and to us. What the...
What? I was not expecting this.
There's so much to take in here. I've never liked that style.
Check it out, he rocks those heels better than you. My God! I don't even know what to say to this. Oh. Wow. Okay.
Well, well. If it isn't the new monarch, Queen Red. Queen Ruby. Sure. He bows his head to me, the feather in his hat bouncing with the movement. A pleasure to meet you, Your Majesty. They call me Roman Torchwick, and I work down here in the lower parts of the city, aiding Lord Osmond and Lady Goodwitch in more mundane matters. Mr. Torchwick has helped us monitor trade through the city, and helps to keep anything unsavory from getting in. Indeed I do. There's something about his eyes. I can't place it, but I know I don't like it.
Sir, this came from June's blueberry harvest. Are these the ones you want sent out? Weren't you listening earlier, you idiot? I've said 8 times, the June harvest is fine. The May harvest was ruined.
Sorry about that, but you know what they say. If you want something done right, you have to do it yourself. It doesn't look like you're doing anything except yell at people. Hey, you selling those pies? They smell great, and I didn't get much for lunch. There it is again. Well, how about this? We'll try the new queen's luck. If it lands, as she calls, you get the pie free of charge. If it doesn't, you pay full price, 4 gold. There's no downside for you. Do we have a deal? I am going to quick save here because I want to actually win this coin toss. I want to see if there's actually a way to win it or if he cheats. You got this, Ruby, and more importantly, I gotta get that pie. All right. Go heads. Heads! Better luck next time, Your Majesty. All right, let's quick load. Tails! Oh. Huh. So I guess it doesn't matter. Either way, you lose, which makes me think he's cheating. Better luck next time, Your Majesty, and that'll be 4 gold from you, miss. If you are all quite done, can we be assured, Mr. Torchwick, that you will continue to aid Queen Rose as you have aided Lord Osmond? Of course, Lady Goodwitch. Then tell your men at the gate to shape up, or I'll use them as Beowulf bait. Are we clear? Not intimidated in the slightest, Roman takes a long drag from his cigar, meeting Glinda's eyes with an even stare. Then his lips twitch, grinning insincerely. Crystal. It was a pleasure to meet you, Your Majesty, but I do have work to get back to. I hope we can have another chat sometime soon. It was my... that face! You need to work on your poker face there, Ruby. It was nice meeting you as well, Mr. Torchwick, and thank you for watching over the trade.
Oh, man.
We leave as Rowan starts yelling at someone else. Soon, Glinda leads us to a public house where we can grab a drink and Yen can eat our pie. If you ladies will excuse me. So, what'd you think of that Torchwick guy? I don't really know. He seemed okay, but there's something about him I don't like. I can't put my finger on it. That's fine, you don't have to figure it out yet. Still, we should keep an eye on him. It's never good to ignore a bad feeling. Instincts are the dark part of our mind sending us a message. You just remember what Dad always said, never trust a merchant. I nod absently. What was that I saw in his eyes? Anger? Mockery? He knows something. Glinda returns, and I remember something that I've been thinking about since the coronation. Seeing the woman in the menagerie and meeting Roman had only made me more determined. Glinda, there's something I want to talk to you about. Yes? I know I was only supposed to be the queen. That all you needed me to do was sit on the throne and wear the crown, but I want to help people. Your mere presence. I want to do more, though. Whatever that means. Whether it's keeping an eye on trade or keeping track of the kingdom's records, whatever it is. I think a queen should do more than just be present. Very well. We'll talk to Lord Ozpin when we return to the castle, and we'll see about what you can do personally to help the kingdom. I'm sure your subjects will appreciate it.
Oh, there's one thing immediately that I'm doing. I am going down to the menagerie and I am going to freaking help them, because I don't like the look that that cat woman was giving me, aka Blake.
At this hour, you'll find Lord Ozpin in the library, most likely. Do you need a guide?
Nah, I got it. The man in green gave me schematics of the castle and the city, so I've got it all in my noggin. Come on, RWBY, I'll show you the way. There he is.
Yeah, do you mind waiting outside, though? I want to speak to him privately.
Sure, little Rose. I'm never farther than a shot away if you need me. Gotta keep the princess safe from all these strange new people, you know?
Queen, Yang. I'm officially the queen now.
Oh, excuse me, your majesty. Can you find it in your heart to forgive this lowly commoner?
Yang!
Do you need something, your highness? Oops, that's my cue to leave. Good luck, old queeniness. I heard you took a tour of your city today.
Yes, sir.
How did you find it?
It wasn't really... There was a lot of...
RWBY?
Sir, why am I even here? I mean, why now, of all times? Uncle Crow took me to the Xiaolong village 7 years ago and told me to forget my old life. And I did. I didn't really have a choice. But now I'm here, again, taken from everything that I knew, and I've landed in the middle of a huge mess, one that I don't know how to fix. This is my kingdom, or it's supposed to be. I stayed in a village because I thought Vale didn't need me anymore, but now I see it needs me more than ever. It's a wreck out there, and you're in here fighting for your life just to keep it afloat. So I have so many questions.
Then I will try to answer them. That's a lot of questions. We'll ask them. I've got enough time, and then after that, we'll wrap things up.
Why did Uncle Crow take me to the Xiaolongs?
During the attack that took your parents' lives 7 years ago, Crow stole you away amid the chaos to somewhere safe. The Rose Monarchs were not the sort to be dispatched by a few rogue Grimm. He was certain that there was something more sinister afoot.
You mean he thought they were murdered by people?
Unfortunately, yes. And over the years, I've come to think that he might have been onto something. Crow was a special man, fiercely intelligent, and more loyal than any other servant to the crown that I've ever come across. He was a man who loved his king and queen like they were family.
He was family. Sort of.
I know, RWBY. I'm sorry. But the day he took you away was the last time I ever saw him. He was so sure that there had been some kind of foul play at foot. Some usurper taking charge of the chaos to end the Rose lineage forever. Their deaths, and yours, would leave the throne free for any who wished to claim it. Whether Crow is dead or alive now, I cannot say. But if he is alive, I am sure he is still hunting down clues as to what really happened that night. As to why he took you to the Xiaolongs, he knew that they were far removed from any sphere of political influence. If there was a plot against you, you would have been safe there, and secret.
I thought I'd see him once I came back. I mean, not right away, since he was always so busy, but I figured he was here if he was anywhere. I miss him.
As do I. I was never very active in court matters, never interacting much with royalty outside of my dealings with Crow, but he spoke often of you, and fondly too. You and I never formally met then.
I had hoped that when you were older, you and I might form a working relationship, but when the Grim attack happened and you vanished... He sighs quietly, rubbing his temples. Why am I here? As long as the Rose blood survives, the throne is loyal to its heirs. As long as you live, none may safely claim the power it holds. Without you, RWBY, we are completely alone, without any means to contact the other planes for aid. The throne is also the cornerstone of the city's various magical protections, but it exacts a terrible price on usurpers. Clearly! I maintained the city's wards as long as I could, but my strength is limited. It was Crow's last wish to see you safe from the threat that killed your parents. But with the re-emerging Grim and the rapid deterioration of my health, I was forced to bring you back. I'm sorry. It's okay. I was happy living at the Xiaolongs, but if this is where I'm meant to be, then I'll take up the responsibility my parents left behind. I'm sorry, too. I'm sorry you had to carry my burden on for so long. So formal of you. Living in the desert didn't totally take away my etiquette lessons, you know? We'll have to see what else you still carry from that old life that might help you during these troubling times. I saw the menagerie. The blame for that falls completely under my incompetence as a ruler. At first, Torchwick's involvement with the community was a blessing. While I fought for my life here on the throne, I felt like someone had risen up to help sort out the common folk in the wake of the disaster and political turmoil that followed your parents' deaths. But before I knew it, he was too powerful for his own good. Greed had driven him to extremes, and there's nothing people love more than a scapegoat. The issue of the menageries is one that troubles me greatly, Ruby Rose, more than I can express with words. I know Crow would never have let things get this bad, but without his guidance, I honestly don't know how we can turn this around. I wish I had all the answers, but I don't. Not for this, at least. Well, there's something Crow always told me. No matter how far you go in a bad direction, there's always the power to turn around. And as rulers, we have even more power than most. You and I are going to fix this together somehow. I admire your optimism. You carry your parents' fire, certainly. Bringing you here might be exactly what we need to turn things around after all. Who are the High Wizards? You've already met one of them. Lady Glinda from the North Mountain is... Wait, Glinda's a wizard? I mean, I knew she used magic, but with a title like High Wizard... I guess that explains how she didn't die of a heat stroke wearing all that ridiculous outfit in the desert. I'd advise you not to let her hear you say that. She's a prodigy among the wizards, and has earned her place here in the court. Oh, I know! I was just saying, she's so strong it makes sense! So, what do the High Wizards do? I know they manage the portals, but other than that, I've never learned much about them. As a group, they study the ancient languages and magics of Vale. They work beside the crown rather than serving it directly under it. And the eldest of the wizards guard and maintain the portals to other planes. As difficult as it was for me to wear that crown, it was 10 times as taxing for them to continue their duty. Even when closed, the portal demands attention. The High Wizards suffer great emotional and physical pains to keep the portals from crumbling around us, and to keep the magic protecting the city running at full capacity. This is to say nothing of how impossible it would be to actually open a portal. Even with a full-blooded Rose Monarch on the throne, the strain of opening a portal may very well kill one of the High Wizards. Or you, Your Majesty. It is not a task to be undertaken lightly. Do you really not remember any of this? What part of I was taken away in the dead of night during a grim attack, dropped off in a strange village and told to forget my own life do you keep forgetting? Of course. You have to understand, RWBY. We didn't even know where Crow had taken you until very recently. I assumed all this time that you would be with him. And even when we did learn, I was hesitant to bring you back to this. This mess! Indeed. Maybe it was selfish of me, but Crow valued your safety above all things. I wanted to respect that. How do I open portals to other planes? First, we must establish contact with the High Wizards. The rest is a matter of ceremony and witchcraft. It's not easy, but we will walk you through the ritual. We will give you a list of our allies and their planes, and you will choose who to approach and when. I must warn you now, Ruby Rose, the stress of opening a portal has been known to kill. As dire as our need is, there are none who would call you a coward for being hesitant. In the end, we cannot force you to open a portal against your will. I don't know yet if I want to open any portals, but if you think that's what we should do, then I have to at least try. What should I do now? Above all, I recommend that you create a council of representatives from different planes. When we send out our requests for aid, they will most likely respond with dignitaries and monks, priests and warriors, whoever they deem fit to answer the call. In some cases, they may not even deign to send anyone, and you will need to go through the portal yourself to establish contact. All this talk about not opening portals because it could potentially kill someone, and then this is saying you might need to actually go through the portal and open and talk to people. Like, that seems rather counter to each other, you know? It will be your job, and mine, to convince them that their aid is needed. And this is the hardest part. You must accept it. Wait, how is that hard? People have a way of being contrary. The differences between these planes will only exacerbate these difficulties. You'll have a table full of conflicting opinions, and as the one who called upon them, it is your place to ensure that everything goes smoothly. You might receive conflicting advice. It will be your job to sort through their complaints and confirm their commitment to our cause. But don't worry, you'll have me at your side, and Glinda as well. We will serve you as we served your parents. By the time we're done with you, you'll be well groomed for leadership. It is your birthright. I don't have any more questions. Well then, we'll begin your preparations to open the portal as soon as you are ready, Your Majesty. Your first order of business will be to choose the members of your council, as your predecessors did in times of crisis. As Queen, can I make a request? Of course. I want Yang on my council. If there's a representative on every plane, then we need one from our plane too, right? I'm not sure that's wise. I know she's brash and wild, but Yang is a competent fighter and a smart tactician. She helped me organize the militia back home, and she and her dad, they both took care of the village needs. She's smarter than people give her credit for, and she picks up on things I miss. I need her with me. We'll call her the Queen's Guard or something. She might even be able to help with the garrison here if they'll have her. That can certainly be arranged. The threat of the creatures of Grimm is greater now than it ever has been, and your kingdom will need more than just the sum of its parts in order to combat it. Are you prepared for this? Do I really have a choice? Always. Then yes, I'll be ready as soon as tomorrow. After all, if I'm going to be queen, I can't just sit around on the throne while you and Glinda take care of the dangerous work. This is my responsibility. I am taking it. And we will be with you every step of the way. All right, cool. That wraps things up here. I will save, and we will pick this up next time. In the meantime, thank you for joining me. This was RWBY 12, and I shall see you in the next video.